Hey, welcome to Fun Friday with Pastor Josh. Fun is something that provides mirth or amusement, enjoyment or playfulness. We're going to talk about what fun looks like today and maybe even get into some fun on this edition of Fun Friday. Hey, welcome everyone to our Fun Friday podcast. And just like I have the last few weeks, I have a guest with me for an interview. And so I am asking them kind of the same questions I've been asking them the last several weeks, because I think it's kind of fun to see the variance of answers, and so that's kind of fun, at least for me. And so I'm going to ask my mom some questions today. She's joined me. This is my mom, Renee. I'll let her share a little bit about herself today. And so we're going to jump in with the most important question. What is your favorite color? That's not really the most important question, but we're going to ask it anyway.
My favorite color is blue.
Blue. Mm-hmm. Why?
Why? It's just always been my favorite color. It's a very serene color, I think, and I don't know. I just love blue. It's the color of the ocean, and I love the ocean. So
there you go. Okay, that's good reasoning. I didn't know if it was because you went outside and you saw the sky and you're like, oh, it's blue.
Oh no.
If that was the case, I'd have to say, well, Mom, it's not really blue.
Oh.
Right? Because isn't that true? The sky isn't really blue. It's like a translucent, whatever. But anyway, that's just like your son to say something like that. Too.
Right, exactly.
Mom, it's not really blue. Well, what's your favorite thing to do outside?
I love the outdoors. So it was kind of hard to think about what, but I really like to walk and I love archery. And I just like to be outside. It's, it makes you feel, I don't know, all warm inside, to be outside in the sun. And even when it's raining, it's kind of, yeah. So.
How do you do with the cold up here in the north?
Oh, well, that's been a challenge because I'm always wearing a sweatshirt or bringing a sweatshirt wherever I go because I'm always cold, but...
It makes it a little harder to be outside a lot.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But it's starting to get warmer now, so we're not inside as much. But what did you like to do when you were inside?
I like board games, and I like watching movies. And, yeah.
What's your favorite channel?
Oh, I don't know if I just have a favorite channel, really, but... what do they call those? The live stream or the streams that they have. I like the PureFlix and I like the Disney. Okay, sometimes so Hulu, but yeah.
The streaming services, you just kind of find a movie on there.
Yep, just kind of
try. I thought she was going to say Hallmark, but
or
something
well, I do like
that.
Hallmark, but that's not my favorite yet.
So the thing about this is, being her son, there's some of these questions I'm just trying to really set her up for, and so we'll see how some of these things go. What's your favorite thing to learn about? Is there something that interests you to learn about?
I always like to learn more about the Lord, but I think I've had a interest in learning about horses and that kind of thing. I don't know why, but it's like the last few years I've just come to really love horses. They're a really cool animal.
Well, you're in the right area for that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of ranchers in our area that have horses, and so if there's any ranchers watching that, now you know a little secret. What's your favorite Bible story?
I have two favorite Bible stories. Of course, I like a lot of the stories that are in the Bible, but the one that strikes me the most, that really speaks to me, is the Mary Magdalene when she breaks the alabaster jar, I think.
The alabaster jar.
Yeah, over Jesus's feet, and how she just kind of surrenders all of her. And the reason it relates to me is it's like that's I feel like that's where I always need to be, and I don't always get there, but that's what I really.
The heart of worship. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Abraham and Sarah. Yeah, their whole life is just one that I just really can relate to. So.
Mm-hmm. You said that there's a lot of Bible stories that you like. So I'm curious, is there any that you don't like?
Well,
you don't have to answer that.
Well, I don't want to say that I don't like it, but I think, I don't know, the one that, and it's not a Bible story, it's like a Bible book. the book of Job. I love Job, but I don't, because it's like my life kind of reflects that, and it's just like, it's hard to look at your life of everything being taken away and still waiting for all of those blessings in the end. And so that is kind of one that I kind of go up and down with,
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy the book of Job. It's just, it's a hard book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. So.
Well, you kind of brought that up a little bit. So,
yeah.
For those that don't know, my mom is going through metastasized breast cancer in the bones, and so you've had many different, time struggles with cancer in some form. You want to just share quickly, I guess, what that looks like as far as how many times you've really kind of gotten through that, and how long has it been?
Right.
Just a little bit briefly of that.
Well, I got first diagnosed in 2005 with stage 3 breast cancer. And during that time, it was a really hard struggle because I have 3 kids, and they were fairly young when I went through that. And so
I'm her favorite, though, right?
Yeah.
Just want to get that on camera. Sorry, go ahead.
So that was a real big struggle, because during that time, of course, nobody wants to leave this earth with, their young kids being young. You want to see things. But I felt like the Lord really brought me through a lot of things that He stretched me through, and He healed me through that. And I went into remission for like 11 years. And then in 2016, I broke a rib, and then we figured out that the same cancer went into my bones. And so I've been dealing with that since 2016, and it kind of goes up and down, because they'll start a treatment and then it doesn't work anymore. And so we do a different treatment. And so that's what pretty much, I deal with every day. So trying to figure that out. So.
Yeah. So when you say, Job, you identify a lot with that.
Yeah.
Is there some things that you think of right away in ways that you identify? Is there statements that he's made, or is it just the overall story?
I think
the feeling of it?
Just the overall story, really. Because, I'm no longer married to your dad. And so, going through that was a little bit hard. And then, I've always had some sort of health issue, and obviously the cancer is the worst one. But so those are the sort of things that and of course we've gone through financial problems and all of that. So it just seems like my life just kind of reflects kind of what Job has, or what he had, and then when he didn't have it, and and so it kind of reflects a lot of what Job's life is. And so
sure,
yeah,
it's really hard to go through something like that, and so that's been a whole different season. And I know with you living with us, and and everything that goes in with that, and having you around our lives, the church life here, has really been a blessing. But which is an interesting season that you're in, that we're all in, and so trust in the Lord in that.
Yeah.
Have you found quite a bit of solace in the story of Job in that area of things? Just trust in the Lord and.
Yes and no. I feel like I do feel a lot of solace in knowing that God is in control. But I do struggle because, I'm not afraid of dying, but, I don't want to go right now because I'm so young. And it's just like, well, it is up in the Lord's hands. And so, I kind of go back and forth with that sometimes. But, but it doesn't mean that I don't trust the Lord. It's just one of those things that, you just have to think through and work through with the Lord. So
yeah, it's definitely not easy.
Yeah, and so I was gonna say that so because of being the stage 4, it brought me up here to live with you guys, just because at this point and stage in my life, we just don't know what direction this is going to go, and it can happen so quickly that it was probably one of the best moves that I've done. So
yeah,
so
Yeah, well, it's great having you with us, and thanks for doing this interview. I know,
Yeah, absolutely.
those weren't on the list of questions, so that was kind of a curveball that I
Uh,
threw her. You handled it like a champ. So we'll get back to some of these questions. What is your favorite place that you have been to? Where is it?
well, that's a toss-up. I've been to Togo 3 times, and Togo, Africa, and all 3 of them were on mission trips. And I love the African people. I just love that whole culture and everything. But to be honest with you, I think that Walt Disney World has got to be up there because it's like I've never
Africa,
been, yeah,
Walt Disney
yeah,
World.
and so it's just like,
It's kinda
well,
the
I've
same.
never been to Disney World, and so a few years ago I went with the family and as a family trip, and it was probably the best time I've ever had. Like it was awesome. So it was a toss up.
I guess being in our family, you just kind of have to like the Disney
Yeah,
stuff. I don't
exactly.
know.
It's like, oh my gosh.
What is some of the favorite things that we've done together?
Um,
I mean, you are my mom. So
well,
I mean,
right. We've had
been
a
around.
lot of memories. I feel. I think, a couple of the ones that I think are probably the best ones is like one time, I was living in Havre. I think I was living in Havre. I was visiting or something, and you showed me how to play basketball on the Xbox, and that was really fun because I mean, I don't know how to play those things, and that was really a really sweet time because we were able to spend time together, and you were able to say, okay, Mom, no, you got to do it this way, and so that was a really nice time to do that, and other times is, we've gotten in some deep conversations. I think I really enjoy those sometimes because it really challenges me, because I feel like, you're a very wise son. God's brought you a long ways, and so I just feel like, you challenge me in a lot of things. Some things that I don't always think about, but yeah.
I appreciate that. I did not pay her to say that.
So.
Disclaimer:
Yeah.
I did not pay her to say that.
Yeah. So.
Well, what about where do you want to go next? Is there some place on the list that you'd like to go? I mean, there's so many places to go. So many
There's
things to do,
so
but-
many places to go. I don't know. With what I deal with, I always try and look at like what would be the main place where I would want to go, and I have like a couple, and one would be Israel, because you guys have gone to Israel, and around that time you guys were showing Israel, and I just never knew that there was so much about Israel that I think that would be a really cool place to go, just to see where our Lord walked and where he was. It was, and then the other place would be Italy and the ocean, of course. Yeah. So
But you've been to the ocean before.
Yeah, I've been to the ocean before, but I would love to go see it again. And of course, anything Disney.
Well, of course. I mean, you had to throw that back in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And our final question, which is such a big question, is what do you want to be when you grow up? I mean,
Well,
Enum started this whole thing, and this
yeah.
is kind of a child question, I know, but it's kind of fun to ask the adults.
I know, honestly, I just don't know if I want to grow up. Knowing that I've grown up and, you mature and then you get set back on some things. I don't know. Life is just too short. And so it's just like, well, so what do I really want to grow up to be? Kind of have fun just trying to figure it out, Yeah,
So it's just fun figuring out the journey and not even necessarily seeing the destination.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just fun to consider the possibilities.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for joining us today. This has been an interview with my mom. And so I encourage you to look forward to more of our Fun Friday interviews and some different things we're going to be doing. We might be going more mobile on our Fun Friday podcast in the future, doing some different things, bringing you along for the journey. And so thanks for joining us this whole week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget our online and on-site services this Sunday, and we'd love to invite you to be a part of that. So thanks for joining us today. Blessings on you this weekend as you look to have fun and love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength.